Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Spooky Japan Podcast. It's definitely been crazy here in Japan this week. Just to go ahead and get out of the way, because I know probably a lot of people's heard about it, but we're okay here in Japan. This week, in case you don't know, we had another earthquake, and we also had it hit southern Japan here. We had a typhoon. Supposedly, it's supposed to be one of the biggest typhoons we've had here since like 1960. Did some damage down here. Luckily, we my house just lost power for that day. No real damage besides out there. They had to clean up the roads, obviously. Then once it went north of me and we're clear, they said it was what's weird is it all of a sudden just disappeared and it just turned into a regular storm. So even I guess meteorologists were baffled why all of a sudden it went from typhoon, this huge typhoon, to gone.
Yeah, but there's another one melting apart. There's another one stirring up right after it, and they go, "Uh oh."
We will probably have for the next few months. Anyways, though, guys, we have a very special guest with us today, David Oman with the Oman House. How you doing, David?
Very good. Thanks for having me on, Amanda and
We're
Irene.
excited to have you on.
Yeah.
So, for those of you, for our listeners out there who may not be familiar with you, how would you introduce yourself and where did your journey into the paranormal kind of begin?
Well, let's start with my journey into the paranormal started when I was a kid. I ventured in my parents' bedroom in the middle of the night when I was about 5 years old because I was kind of scared of the dark or something. It got me concerned enough to leave my bedroom and jump into my parents' bed. And I remember that I woke up in the middle of the night in between them, and I looked to my right, and the doorway that went from on my mom's side of the bed, I saw an object about 4 feet off the ground. It was like a cluster, like a red ball, a blue ball, and a green. I think a blue ball, red, blue, and green. I think or yellow, red, blue, and yellow, and it was like the crazy like conglomeration. It started floating. It was like went around the perimeter of the bed from the door, went around the front of the bed, went to the other side of the bed, and I'm like this watching this thing. And then it went into the other side of the other door, on the other door, on the other side of my dad's side of the bed. And I was like, what the hell was that type of thing?
Yeah.
That unfortunately in the background is the caterwauling. But it was just one of those things. It was just like, and I remember telling my dad and my mom in the morning, goes, "Oh, you were dreaming." It's like, no, no, no. I woke up and I saw this thing moving, and it was just, and that was it. And I started becoming very fascinated and curious about the paranormal. Um, and since that time, I guess, I grew up, but I still was fascinated. And the story about myself present day is that my dad found a lot 25 years ago in 1998, 26 years ago in November of 98, and told me to come up to find it, to take a look at it with him. So I came up here and I saw the lot, and as I'm looking down the street, I'm thinking, that's where the Sharon Tate murders took place.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I'd been here in high school, because we all read Helter Skelter, and I wanted to see the house when I was a kid. Turns out that this lot's literally 150 feet down the driveway from where the Sharon Tate murders once took place. And I was like, oh my God. And my dad was like, well, what do you think of the lot? And it's like, it's pretty steep slope, Dad. He said, you think you can? He goes, I can build on this. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, it's only $40,000. It's a foreclosure. It's a steal. And I'm like, what's the hook? What's the reason why it's only 1/10 of what its value is? He goes, plus, he said, there's already construction that looks like it was started on the house, and they stopped it. I said, you mean there's rebar on the side of the slope, which is the foundation for a foundation. You will put the concrete inside this cage of basically steel and iron meshwork. And he says there are caissons, there's some pieces of equipment that have been here that have drilled holes in the ground to install these concrete pilings into the earth. And it's like, so we ended up buying the lot and we built this house. And let's just say stuff was happening during construction where my contract laborers were totally flabbergasted by the stuff that was happening. And after we moved in, stuff started continuing to happen.
Mm.
And it's never really been a bother to me. I always found it kind of curious, to put it bluntly. It's always confusing. And hi, David. It's nothing that it's really been like, oh my God, it's out to get me. It's always been like, all right, you turn the faucets on. What more are you gonna do? Oh, you turn the television on.
Mm.
Okay, you knock the figurines over. Okay. All right, you absconded with a roll of film. And where does it? And then 3 days later, it shows up in my bathroom on top of a glass. I'm like, I can't believe it. Yet it wasn't extremely nefarious. What happened was the bank foreclosed on the construction that had started 10 years earlier, and the city had basically halted the construction. My dad did the research and found out that there was a clerical error in the paperwork by the city where it said that, according to the city, was it the Building and Safety Commission, the maps for the street that were up here were mistranscribed from a private drive to a private street.
Mm.
And the difference, semantics aside, we would think it's nothing. It's a legal term. The definition thereby is that a private street is maintained by the city and thereby must be a certain width and must have a 38-foot wide turnaround spot for emergency vehicles, etc., etc. And the city maintains the street and all of the utilities and etc., etc. On a private drive, the homeowners on that private drive have to do all of that, and there are no regulations as far as the width is concerned. There's no regulations for a 38-foot turnaround, etc., etc. And apparently somewhere between the time that this property was sold in 1970 and 1980, they changed the gosh darn description on the property reports. As my dad then went in and found the discrepancy and said, excuse me, somebody wrote down, originally it was private drive, changed it to private street, and I'm petitioning it to be returned back to private drive as it was originally stated and was in the original CC&Rs.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out it was right. And my dad had it fixed and remedied so we could build on the property. And we did. And it took us about almost 4 years, 3 3/4 years from the purchase of the property in January of 1999 to completion in August. Well, I think I moved in, son of a bitch. It's the 22-year anniversary of me moving into the house. August 30th is when I moved in. So 22 years ago today.
Nice.
Happy,
You gotta love discrepancies on paperwork for that reason, especially when it benefits
Yeah.
you.
No, it was luck, pure luck.
Yeah. Mm. I've watched a lot of programs where you were on and you were talking about certain things happening in certain parts of the house. I
Yeah.
found it totally amazing. And watching it, I there's some times when I got vertigo, and sometimes when I said, "Ooh, I don't feel good." Like,
You're not the only one, Irene. I mean, I've had a lot of people that have seen other videos from people, some social media influencers that have visited the house and have said, I'm very sensitive. I'm watching this video and I'm getting feelings of this and that. I'm going,
yeah.
it's amazing, which I find personally amazing because, I mean, I've had people walk in the house and I don't believe in ghosts, and they go walk in different rooms and they go, why does this room feel different than that room feels different than that room feels different than that room on that floor? It feels different than that room on that floor. And I go, I don't know. It's almost like it's a compartmentalized type of a venue where each room has got its own little energy
Works
type
in it,
of
right?
this.
Do you think the murder of Sharon Tate created that energy in that whole area?
No, no. As I said before, even had the murders not taken place down the street from my house here, this house would still be wildly active. I think, as Dr. Tapp had said 20 years ago, the house sits on a geomagnetic anomaly, and because of that, it's not limited to that, to the proximity to the Sharon Tate murders, and that other people's homes in the area that I've known and met with and talked to through the years have told me that their homes are also active and has nothing to do with the Sharon Tate murders.
Okay, that's interesting. That'd be really interesting to find out why, and dive right into and see what's causing it, right? Because I guess nobody really has an answer for that one.
Well, Dr. Tapp had said that there was a large lava tube under the earth in the earth here, and that it's discharging an electromagnetic field coming up. And the way the house is designed, with the 4 steel I-beams supporting the second and the third floor, connected to the three steel columns supporting each floor, and the steel I-beams, is basically amplifying the energy that's coming through the earth and through the house, and that's creating this, for lack of better words, a Ferris cage. So the house has got extremely elevated DC EMF levels. People's homes also seem to have energy that they find in the house that's interesting as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely, with the renovations and stuff, that stirred something up. I don't know what it is about renovations, but it always stirs up paranormal activity.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because you're changing what they're used to seeing.
Well, that's interesting you mentioned that, because the house next door to mine, which was the Cott House, where Winifred Chapman, the housekeeper, ran to, which my friends and neighbors lived there for as long as I'd been here, if not longer, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
They rented their house out as an Airbnb, and I rented it out a couple times, and it had wicked energy in there, as I recall, very much.
Wow.
DC electromagnetic field levels is what EMF stands for, and the DC is direct current, such as static electricity, lightning, battery electricity, that type of stuff. That's DC. DC is man-made, that goes through the walls of your house and conduit and such. But as I was saying, we rented the house out, and my friends had strange stuff happen there. And they sold it twice in about 2 years. And the new owners went all the way down to the original frame in remodeling that house and changed a lot of the layout. And I was just in there actually yesterday, as a matter of fact, because I was shown by the contractor, and I walked through, and it's like, energy doesn't feel the same at all. It feels totally different. It feels like it's almost cleansed. I don't know. It did not have that energy that I remember so vividly going in there. And I also know that Usher rented that house out for 6 months as his creative space. And he told me point blank that he had some strange stuff happen in there. He was in there on the second floor taking a shower, and the top floor is street level, the second floor is below. And he says, I was taking a shower and I heard footsteps on the ceiling above me. And he goes, the ceiling above me is the floor of the top floor. And he goes, I was there alone. The lock on the metal gate in front of the door was locked and bolted, and the front door. So as I ran upstairs and I looked around the house, there was no one there. I went to the front door. The front door was dead bolted, and the gate in front of it was dead bolted.
That's interesting. That's really
great. Usher was a very nice neighbor.
Yeah.
So it was, one of those things. And like I said, when it was an Airbnb, I used to talk to the people that rented it out. They said, oh yeah, I have strange shit happening here all the time. It's like, well, it's strange stuff that happens here. I heard footsteps, I heard voices, the door closed on itself. We had strange stuff happen.
Yeah,
Excuse
that's
me.
interesting. That's
Is
really
that
interesting.
advertised for the when they rent it out? Because I can see
No,
them.
no.
I was
And
gonna say I can see.
that's 3 years ago as well. That's at
Mm,
least 4 years ago now that stopped since it was sold.
that's interesting. Oh, damn.
I would rent out haunted place, but not on Airbnb.
Hello, Samantha. It's good to hear you making some sounds.
Mm.
I hope you're feeling better, kid. You gave that a scare.
He's
David, I
talking to
hear.
his cat.
My cat, I'm talking to, not
Yeah,
a
that's what I said. He's talking to his cat because I'm sure people are
not
like,
to
"Who's he talking?"
Sammy, come here. Yeah, come here. Say hello so you can show yourself. Not sitting there. Oh, puppy cat. That.
Thank you,
The cat does not look happy.
Sammy.
No, you say, I'm not in the mood for this. Like,
Somebody
no,
near me.
I'm not really in the mood for this. I don't want to do this. All right.
Oh, she's quite amenable. There she goes. Yeah, she's actually mobile now, so I'm much relieved.
Ooh, David, there's a little boy saying, "Mommy, mommy, 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 mommy" in your house. It's just really loud, creepy loud. Wow.
Well, if you guys ever come out to California, you'll have to come up and visit the house here.
So I'm
Yeah,
going to.
See it for yourself. Experience it.
yeah.
I'm
We
telling
got
you,
it. We
it
got it.
is
We gotta
something.
go.
It is a hoot.
We gotta go. It's just something that's. Yeah, I feel it so strong. Like I can feel the energy from your home right here. It's in your face like this, you know. It's really
No,
interesting.
it's not like I said. I've been here 22 years, and I have very little to complain about.
Yeah, yeah. It's just something that I find most fascinating. That's why I wanted to bring you on the show because I think you're a fascinating person. I think your house is fascinating, and it's just the more I think about it, the more intrigued I get. you know.
It's definitely not what people expect because it's been on, was it 8 U.S. TV shows, two in the UK, one in Germany. I think there was one in Japan. Um, and it's like, oh, it's all about the Sharon. It's like, it is not about the Sharon Tate murders. That is
No,
one small, that's the tippy tip of the iceberg.
yeah,
There's
it's
so much
just
more stuff that happens related to the people that come in the
it's
house.
just one quarter of it, right? The whole thing
Right.
is like, you
Well, the
know,
people come in the house bringing their own spirits, as I've seen. And I mean, I've got video footage of this stuff that'll be captured, and I go, that's directly related to that person and that person alone, and that's because it's connected to them. Nothing to do with Sharon Tate and the murder victims. And I
no,
said,
no,
why would the victims want to go visit somebody they have no idea who they are? There's no connection, but the point, shortest distance between two people is when they were alive, they were friends, and that's still connected,
hmm yeah,
even
yeah,
though one has passed away. That's all
yeah,
it is. It's
yeah.
that simple.
It's just, yeah,
Well, it
but
could also be a portal open there, and they just are
yeah,
able to more freely go in and out of portals. That's
yeah,
always my theory of why
yeah,
spirits are there, even though they don't have connection to anyone there. It's just like obviously
no,
with what happened near the property or
yeah.
someone near someone else's property, portals probably open, so they're able to walk back and forth.
And it's probably was an old portal too. That happened a long time ago, and you don't know, but they come and go in, and then it gets opened up by some stupid reason or something, or some kind of construction opens it up or something like that, and then they come and they go, right? And w- we don't know why it happened there, but yeah, and it's there and it's there to stay, unless somebody goes in there and closes it for you, but they can be reopened. And the one thing that I'm gonna say is that once you have something there, it's really hard to say that that you can close it and not have anything there anymore, because they'll always come and then go as they please, right?
Hmm.
It's a fact. It's a fact, and you can't really close it forever, because that's not the way how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any thoughts or recollections of opening anything up. So
Mm-mm.
as far as I know, it's here. It's always been here, and the fact that we built the house just happens to it's in the area. It does again. A lot of the neighbors not on the driveway, but in the area that I've
Yeah.
spoken to told me stuff
Yeah.
happens. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I agree with Josh. But I don't think you can close
No,
any.
you can't. You can't really 100% fully close it.
Even if you do somewhat, I know a lot of people assume once you close it, it's always closed. I'm like, that's not true.
No.
I've seen a lot of Christians go out there to places, they cleanse the place, like, okay, we closed a portal, so it's good forever. And I'm like, it's not.
You
No.
closed it for that moment, as Marianne Winkowski famously said to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
said she goes, I could cleanse your house. She's the real life ghost whisperer that the show is based upon. She said, I could cleanse your house, but in 2 minutes there'd be a whole new slew of spirits that'd be in there.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. It is, oh, what a cute cat. Oh,
Yeah.
Sammy, there you are. Like I said, yeah, I just personally, I think that it's hubris of man to be able to say such things that we can do. We can't do anything. The spirits live in the plane of existence. They do what they want to do, and we have no way of controlling them. And that's basically, in a nutshell, that. The idea is, I'm going to tell the spirit to get out. It's like, really, like the idea that a spirit wants to get inside your body and occupy the physical realm. That's hubris. It's human ego speak. They're out of their pain. They don't feel pain anymore. They might have emotional distress, but that's not like physical pain. And as far as I can see, going back from the physical to the spiritual, back to the physical, don't make a lot of sense. Because once you're out of the physical pain and you died from cancer, I highly doubt that you want to go occupy a human body to be exposed to physical pain again.
Yeah.
You're not throwing a crowd. Spirit's not like, I need to find a body. I need to find a body. I need to find a body. You a good body? I don't know. You could be no. God, where's a good body? I don't know. Where's a good body?
Yeah.
But you be a good body.
And they pick yours.
You know, it's like, come on.
All the arthritis. Okay, if I'm going to pick a body, it's going to be one that goes to the gym and looks like a Greek goddess, okay?
Yeah.
That's the body. I'm picking some supermodel looking girl. That's who I'm going to pick, not
Yeah.
the average person with arthritis or whatever other health issues you got going on.
There's the answer to Wolfpack Paranormal. You can, but they're only if they're willing to cross over, then they can, but a lot of them they won't. So it's really hard. I forced a couple spirits to cross over because I didn't want them in somebody's house to create havoc, and it was making the house owner's wife sick. So I forced them to cross over. But usually you give them a choice whether they want to or not. A lot of times they don't know, and sometimes you have to do it. But in most cases, it's really difficult. Unless they really want to go, they'll go. But a lot of times they don't want to go. So it's an iffy situation, right? You just can't do it on a whim's note. You have to be very careful how you do it and how you speak to them.
Irene did have to force one for me to cross over. It was an ex. He passed away at the time this happened. 4.5 years prior. I don't even know what I don't even really want to call him an ex. The reason why is we were casually I guess dating. We never had a title. We never really. It was just. I don't even know what you want to call it for like 3 to 4 months. 3 to 5 months, somewhere in there. But I was the last person he was basically seen before he passed. Unfortunately, I think he had something wrong with his brain because he kept mysteriously fainting.
Yeah.
But so he passed, unfortunately, and
It's
he
hard.
never got to experience the family thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't even know what you'd call it because we were talking when
It's
it's one of those like.
situation shit.
Well, I think that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. I'm like, I don't know what you want to call it because we never officially had a title, but we kind of seen each other. So I'm like,
Oh God, you guys are killing
yeah.
me.
So he
Yeah.
never unfortunately got to get married or have the children or
No.
anything. He always regretted the fact that he never started a family, got married. He told me that
Yeah.
he started visiting me when I went here in Japan. At first, it was like innocent, and I was just like, it's been like 4.5 years. I don't want you to be lonely. Cross over, man. And I had other clairvoyants talk to him. They all came back with the same thing. Yes, I've
Mm.
talked to him, but he said he's not ready to cross over. And then I start feeling him every time he'd visit me. He had more energy saved up. And trust me, I've had so many different conversations with him that try and be like, yo, we wasn't that long, it wasn't anything serious. I don't know why you're assuming I'm the love of your life all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Crossover.
And
I've had so
he.
many different conversations with him, and I'm like, because I was like, trust me, guys. You don't think I've had a lot of different conversations, try to get
Yeah.
at different angles? Like, yo, just go on your own. And other mediums, but yeah, I also had my spirit helpers talk to him. He's told me and all of them he's not ready to move on.
Yeah.
The only thing that he was not ready to move on is, like I said, he was upset that he never got married, started a family. I'm like, yeah, by now, unfortunately, I understand, but it sucks to be your situation. It's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
You're going
And
to have to
he.
just move. I can't, it's like, if there's anything else I can help you with in the physical world, let me know. But unfortunately, that's something I can help you with. He started
Yeah.
gaining more and more energy to the point where one day he visited me with a lot of stored up energy. I called Irene. And I'm like, look, Irene, I am tired of everyone saying I've talked to him. He said he doesn't want to go. He's
Yeah.
storing energy. Someone's telling me, something else is also telling me this is not a good sign. He's going to do something
Yeah.
with it. He won't tell me. I'm starting to freak out.
Yeah.
So
And
she
what I
talked to
got
him.
out of it is that he wanted to unalive you and take you with him. And I
Yeah.
said, no, that's not going to happen. I said, no, that's not going to happen. So,
She had to force him to cross over because I'm like, he's storing up more energy. He's refusing to use it. He's going to use it on me. He's going to try something.
yeah.
I don't want to find out.
Yeah. And that I really had to make him go. And then I made him go. He was kind of pissed off that I had to make him go.
Yeah,
Like he
because
was
he
saying
was
a couple,
obsessed.
he was saying a couple words like like bleep 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 bleep, stuff that you don't want to talk
Yeah, well,
about,
I've
right?
had different conversations, not just physical. Because I'm like, it's kind of late for you to do the whole family thing. I mean, I understand you want to do the whole
Yeah.
family thing, and that was taken away from you
Mm.
at such a young age. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. It does.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't.
You
It
can't
is
do
what it is.
anything about it, right? He's
Yeah, and I was like,
dead.
it is. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah. It was it. I said, okay, Amanda, I have to make him go. And she goes, okay,
No,
please
I
do.
called her, and I'm like, I am so sick and tired of every clairvoyant says, yeah, I see him, but he told me he doesn't want to move on yet. He's not ready. And I'm like, and I called Irene. I'm like, I am tired of this. I don't care if he's ready.
Yeah. Just make him go, please. I said, okay, I
Just like,
will.
I don't want to do this with him anymore.
So I had to really make him go, and that was one situation that it took me a little while.
Like, can we not? And I was like, I think everyone's being too nice with him. I'm like, okay, go when you're ready. And I'm like, no, I don't care.
Yeah, just make him go, please. I said, okay, I'll do it.
And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Man, just move on. Move on.
Yeah.
I even
Yeah.
said that. I'm like, it's been 4.5 years by now. It has to be lonely. I don't want you to be alone anymore. Crossover. Be with your family there.
Yeah. He finally left, thank God.
It's like, let's not.
Yeah, it wasn't cool. um, um, David, what would be you if you would you have any place that you would love to visit and see, especially if you had any paranormal activity or something, or would you be interested in doing that?
Um, I think I want to see Lilydale, which is in upstate New York. The what is it? The spiritual community that's opened up like 3 months out of the year to
Mhm.
the public. Or is it four? I think it's 4 months out of the year it's open to the public in upstate New York. That's just totally curious type of vibe. I want to see that.
Mm, that'd be interesting.
I wanted to answer David Hope's question earlier on about the paranormal. What's the landmark experience? And I'll be honest with you, there's only one experience that I've ever had that really takes the cake, and that was actually my first time that I saw an apparition, and that was full body apparition of a spirit, and that was 20 years ago this past July in
Mm.
2004 when I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw this gentleman standing at the foot of my bed, and he had his left arm extended with his index finger pointing out, and what I thought he was pointing towards the driveway leading down the way from the house. As it turns out, he was pointing towards the property next door to my house 8 years before they started construction and eviscerated the mountainside and built this monstrosity of a concrete mega mansion there.
Mm,
So
that's
that
interesting.
one and only experience I've actually seen an apparition. It was like,
Wow.
holy, and it wasn't just like this. He was there for a good 5 seconds and then evaporated. I'm like, yeah. And I wasn't like, oh my God, it's a ghost. He's going to scare me. And he didn't look all, let's be honest. He didn't look like what we've all been told they're going to look like when you see a ghost. It's real like moldy and bloody and like deteriorating, like, like
Yeah.
rotting corpses. He was totally fine. He didn't look
Yeah.
bad. He looked like just a human being in kind of like shades of gray.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
It's really interesting because people find that because their house has something in it, they think it's a haunting, but it's totally different. There's a haunting version and there's a visitation version, right? So some spirits can say hello to you, and it's not really a haunting; it's a visitation. But
Yeah,
if
I've had a lot
something,
of visitations.
yeah, if it's something that crazy happens that you feel that makes you sick, that's a haunting, okay? Or something nasty happens to your family, that's a haunting. So there's a fine definition between the visitation and a haunting, and you got to really realize which is which, and and understand that, and the way that I go into a home, I have to figure out which one is which. Is it a haunting or is it a visitation? If it's a visitation, I try to talk and communicate and see what's necessary to the spirit can go back to where it's supposed to go. And if it's a haunting, like what do we do to resolve this problem, and how do we resolve it? So it's just two different categories, and how we approach are two different ways, right, Amanda?
Yeah, you get a lot of
Um,
visitations here in Japan
yeah,
too, so
yeah,
it's
and understand
just
it,
like,
and understand it too, and understand it, because not all of them want to come out and hurt the hell out of you. Not all of them want to come out and wring your neck. So it's just a different thing. It's a different category. It's a different way that we approach things, and understand it, and find out why, and how can we, and make it good and make it better for everybody. Um,
I don't
I
really
just
think there's a timeline when they can visit you. Sometimes it might be a quick visit, like in
yeah,
and out. Sometimes it might
yeah,
be. I
yeah,
knew someone who had one for at least a few months. Maybe one person had one for like a year, and it was just one of those things where it just
yeah,
left on its own. It didn't
yeah.
have any ties to anyone in the house. It didn't have any
No.
ties to the property. It was just there for whatever reason. And then one day they
Yeah.
just realized the spirit just kind of left. He's like, all right, moving on.
David, have you had any when your house was being built, did any of these people who who built your house run away from the run away from the property?
yeah, as a matter of fact, one guy was here, and this is about 6 months before we were done with the house. We released the rough contractors. The laborers were doing the rough construction, meaning that 6 months before we were done, we were done with the framing. The walls were up. The air conditioning was in. It was now time to put in the carpets, to put in the granite countertops, to put the vanities in, to put the glass, mirrors in the bathrooms, and then put all the lighting fixtures in, and all the final plumbing fixtures. So that at that point, we were almost done with the house. Right before we got to that last finished construction, I said to the guys, "Look, you guys have been here for the past two plus years working on the house. Have any of you guys had any weird experiences?" And this I did where now is the dining room table. And I said to them, they said, yeah. Now these guys range between, what is this, of these people? No, just ZB of Ghost Adventures had problems here when they shot the show. But they were between the ages of 16 and 35. The 35-year-old was the 16-year-old's dad. And I said to them, what happened? One of the guys said, I had a problem 6 months ago. I said, really? He goes, yeah, the dead of summer, middle of summer in July, I was on the third floor working by myself. It's about 6 o'clock. I was the last one here.
Yeah.
And I heard voices and footsteps coming from the top floor. So I said, David, Senor Paul, ¿dónde estás? So he came upstairs he came up the spiral staircase, got to the top, went through the entire floor, found nobody. Went outside, looked up and down the street, said, there's no cars. I said, crap, I've been here at 7 o'clock in the middle of July in the summertime. It's still very, very lit, and the place is a god-awful hot box, but no cars up here at all. No kidding. He said, well, that's what I don't understand. He goes, I heard the voices and footsteps coming from the top floor, and there's nobody. And he goes, there's no cars, nothing. So he says, I go back downstairs, and I hear the voices and footsteps again coming from the top floor. So this time I come running upstairs with a hammer, and I go looking around the top floor, nothing. I go to the second floor. I looked at the second floor, no one. He says, at that point, I went back to the third floor, and I started packing my bags. I went into what is now the guest bedroom, but I went into that room. I was packing my bags, and all of a sudden, I can hear coming down the staircase the sound of leather-soled shoes hitting the wooden treads that are on the staircase, coming down, and they're getting louder and louder till they got behind, to the bottom of the landing. So I came running out and looked, and there was nothing there. Wow. And I said, what happened? He goes, I don't know, because all of a sudden I walked towards the bottom of the landing where the staircase was. I said, I feel this ice-cold breeze, like a 2-inch band wide of ice, come across the back of my neck, above my hairline, below my hairline and above my shoulder blades. He said, all the hairs of my body stood straight up, and I got just chills up and down my spine. He goes, dos míos, yeah, my boy, which means, oh my God, I'm leaving. And he took off for 6 weeks. And I said, that's when you told the other guys, the rest of the crew, that you were taking care of your mom who was sick in San Salvador, right? He goes, yeah. I said, where were you? He goes, I was working other jobs. But I realized that I did not get paid for the prior 3 weeks. So I to get my check in to finish what I was doing. I said, I remember that time because you were supposed to finish doing the tiles in the master bathroom and you didn't get around to it. So I decided to put them in myself. And I thought it was such an easy job because I kept on saying, you slap it on, put them down. And then I realized once I started doing it that it's a hell of a lot more difficult than just slapping on the cement and putting them down. He goes, oh no, it goes a lot more tricky. He goes, and you used natural stone in your master bathroom. He goes, you have to take the stones out and figure out the jigsaw pattern that is in the stones because the veins of minerals that are going through the tiles are supposed to be put through, so you get a line of it like this, and you can match them up because in your thing you got one vein going like this, one next to it like this, because they don't match. It's like, yeah, I know. To this very day, the master bathroom tiles look like you know what.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if you think I'm lying, take a look at the master bathroom and you'll see No lie
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So he said, he goes, but after that, he says, I would always be the first one off the job site. When anyone else would leave, I'd leave with them because I didn't want to be anywhere near there alone in that house ever again.
Mm, that's interesting.
And I've heard I've had an experience a couple years after I moved in here watching a movie in the same third floor theater room now, and heard the voices from the top floor coming down the stairwell into that room, thinking that it was the telephone answering machine. I picked up the answering machine, and there was no, it was a dial tone. Then I called from my cell phone to the home line, and I heard the phone ring, and I realized that, wait a second, how could I hear ring, ring if I didn't hear the ring, ring when I heard the man's voice? So my date said to me, he goes, what was that? He goes, hold on. So I went through the house, all the windows were shut, telephone answer machine, no messages, telephone ID, no calls. Went back down to my date, and she goes, what was that? And it was like, what did you hear? And she goes, what do you mean, what did I hear? I said, can you just describe? She goes, I heard a man, late 20s, early 30s, Caucasian, talking to somebody, it sounded like, having a conversation in English with no accent either. And it's like, yeah, that's what I heard. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, did you remember hearing a ring, ring on the telephone before the man started talking? And she goes, no. I said, exactly. She goes, what do you mean? And it was like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, that's what I mean. I said, I can't explain it. All the windows in the house were closed. There's a television on. There's no answering machine. You heard no voice before you heard the ring, ring. Well, you heard no ring, ring before the voice. What do you make of it? And she goes, I'm out of here. And she took off and she left. Never did return. So it's that date, right? You know, just and then I've heard the footsteps in my bedroom in the early morning hours when I woke up and heard the footsteps trailing from the living room, sliding glass door to the balcony across the living room towards the dining room kitchen. And I was like, 1, 2, 3. As I can hear the footsteps trailing across, and I realized that the front door was dead bolted and I had the security alarm on with the infrared motion sensors on the top floor where I was hearing the footsteps.
Would you say, like, if you're watching a program, would you even think, like, was it a scary movie that you're watching, or what was it?
Was watching White Chicks.
That's interesting. Like,
and I love that movie. So I don't know. I mean, I guess the spirits were just like tickled pink about having White Chicks on and didn't like the date I was with because they made sure she got out of there pretty quick. Because I figured if I've got a date and she can't handle the spirits, then there's no way I'm going to be able to date her without her flipping out. And it just isn't going to work. It just isn't in the alignment of the stars, let us say.
Yeah.
To be together.
You know, did you have a lot of experience where they bailed on you?
Well, no, just that one time in particular, it was just like she goes, I'm out of here. Disappeared. I've had a producer who was here watching my movie, and this is an unsolicited plug for this house at the end of the drive. He saw the movie and was watching it downstairs, and I came upstairs to get him some drinks, get us some drinks. And 5 minutes later, I hear the door, I've now got a door that's in front of the entrance to the theater room now, but I heard the door open and I heard it shut. And then I hear footsteps pumping, pump, 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 from the bottom floor to the top floor. And I heard him walk out, didn't say a word, walked out the front door, and he went outside and he got in his car. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? So I went outside and I said to him, as his engine is starting up, and I said, roll down the window. He goes, I said, what happened? He goes, I go, what happened? He goes, I'm sitting there watching your movie, and I'm 10 minutes into it, and all of a sudden, I start feeling fingertips, the sensation of fingers running through the back of my hair. I said, what? And he goes,
See,
and then
I would love that. But yes, play with my hair.
and then he says, he goes, I feel somebody's finger running up and down the back of my spine through my leather jacket. And I'm like, whoa. I said, I can't explain it. And he says, well, I don't like it. And all of a sudden, I got something said to me, said, it's his two friends that died recently. This is kind of 1,000 miles away to see tonight. What's that, Raymond? What does that mean?
It's that song that was
From a song. I know that, isn't it?
the other song where they're at the club and the dance off. Every time I hear that song, that's what goes through my head is that scene.
Everyone morning in another room. So I said to him, I said, you had two friends of yours that died over the past several years recently, in the past 3 or 4 years. And he coiled back and says, what do you mean? I said, one of your friends died in a mountain climbing accident. I said, he's on climbing up the one of those steep mountain faces, and his lanyard, whatchamacallit, carabiner broke or lost. He goes, and I said, the other guy died in a car accident. He was like, how the hell did you know? I said, well, those are the two different spirits that were basically reaching out to you when you were downstairs watching my movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a carabiner is what it was. The carabiner attached to the mount that went into the rock face basically lost its security and it broke. And he was like, how did you know? I said, well, that's who it was. He goes, oh my God. He goes, but he never came back in the house and he took off anyways. But at least I told him who the hell it was that was interacting with him. So it wasn't kind of like some kind of a mystery that it was the house. It's like, no, it's directly related to you. This is you brought these people with you and they decided.
Not me, it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being in your home was one of the, it was energy wise attracting it, making it easier to come and visit him. I think.
Well, the house has got really elevated EMF levels, and what Dr. Tappet said 19 years ago was that the people that walk in the house, their spirits. Well, I've come to the conclusion that because it's so elevated, it reminds you of the movie Ghost, where Patrick Swayze's mentor spirit tells him in that scene, he goes, you've got to focus all your energy into one concentrated point and push it out. Well, in this house, as Dr. Tappet said, in his years of research, when he'd had the experience at the Entity case, which was a movie based upon the spirit interaction with this woman in Culver City who was raped multiple times or sexually assaulted violently by the spirit, that when he was there in the early 70s with Dr. Thelma Moss from UCLA, and they took a picture of the Polaroid, on a Polaroid, of this arc of energy over the woman's head, that their instruments that he was bringing to my house would respond accordingly. They said they would peak at 2,000 milligauss positive. And he says this is a digital geomagnetometer. It reacts to DC electromagnetic fields only. He brought it into my house. He goes, the house has got resident energies of 2,000 milligauss positive to all the way to 2,000 milligauss negative. Because they're peaking at those levels. I said, what does that mean? He goes, well, our instruments are only capable of registering up to 2,000. After that, he goes, it's off the scales. He goes, well, it could be 5,000 milligauss. He goes, but our instruments are limited. He goes, we were doing the Entity case, and the manifestation would appear, this spike to that place, and then return to normal. He goes, in your house, after a year of investigating it, I find that there's never a time when your house isn't always spiked. So I realized, I said, so like when you take a reptile from a cold environment, it's very sluggish.
Yeah.
But take it to a warm environment, it becomes more active because the heat environment is allowing its blood to warm up, and it can then flow freely in the body of this snake, in the reptile, lizard, snake, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In this house, I figured it's the same analogy. You come in with your spirits around you, excuse me, and you walk into the house, the spirits hit this environment. They're like, oh my God, it's a day at the beach. I can manifest. I can move objects. I can communicate. I don't need to worry about focusing all my energy into that one little spot. It goes, here, it's naturally occurring. I can react. I can do stuff. So that's why I said people come here with the expectations. I'm looking for Sharon Tate. And I said, what's in it for them? What's in it for Sharon Tate, Wojtek Bykowski? Because you're her biggest fan? She's really impressed, but she's not going to spend the energy to come across the planes of existence to say, oh, nice to meet you. I'm Sharon Tate. How are you doing?
Like, huh?
But your aunt, your uncle, your grandparents, your friends, your brothers, your sisters, your parents who had passed away, you hit this environment and they want to reach out and touch someone. You reached out and touched by someone that you've known.
Yeah, that's it's like going on a I don't know, this romantic whatever you call it from it, right?
It's
They
different.
want to believe.
It's a unique experience. Like I said, I've had people that have come here that said, oh, it's not haunted. I said, all right. And then they come out and
Whatever.
go, there's something, there's definitely something to your house and I can't explain. It's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, whatever. Like you'll always get the two sides of it, right? The believers and the non-believers, and that's why you're free to believe what you want to believe. You're free to think what you want to think. But down deep down, we know different, right? Uh, and
Yeah.
the thing is that I have this concept. Okay, you can believe me or if you don't. You can believe me if you don't, if you want. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. I mean, it's not my responsibility to make you believe what I see and make you see what I see, because I see what I see, and I don't really think I have to explain to you what I see. And I don't really think it. If you want to, you can. If you don't, that's fine too. I don't care, right?
You
And
can't make somebody believe what they don't want to believe because some people were brought up in a way that they were taught in their religious studies and their beliefs are such. And to them, it's blasphemy or it's demonic or whatever. And again, I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I'm just here to share my experiences. People see the house, too. That's that. Experience.
That's what makes it so wonderful, because we have our small group, okay, small society people. Yeah, and we understand each other. There are things that I may not see that you may see, or there's things that I may see that Amanda may not see, and that's what's wonderful about it, because we could always use our notes to see what's there and what's not there, and probably understand and listen to it. That's the thing about it. It's not a real science, but no, people say
that's what
but
they said is every
no
you can have a different clairvoyance in the same place, and some are going to pick up the same thing, some of them are not. They're going to pick up different things, and it is what it is.
Everybody's wired differently, as I tell people. Not everybody's going to have the same experience, the same things in the same location. Everybody's different. That's just the way that we all are. That's the uniqueness of the human being or species.
And to put a light on it, being a clairvoyant means that you're not like Madame Medusa, because I can't tell you what color, I can't tell you what you're thinking, I can't tell you how you feel. I'm not like, there's certain points I can tell you how you feel, but there's a lot of misconceptions about this field, and I'm not gonna put words in your head. I'm not gonna make you see pink elephants in the sky.
I think it's hilarious. Anytime I see Irene post a picture, introduce herself, and say I'm a clairvoyant, there is always at least one comment, if not more, that I see that says, "Tell me my future," or "Tell me what I'm thinking." I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not how this works.
You only get
You
the
can't say,
information you get, and that's all that you can give them is the information you get.
No.
Not everything is foretold.
No.
I used to do readings, but I stopped doing it just because of the
No.
fact that you kind of realize with the
Yeah.
readings, people only want to be told what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Like,
They only
you're
want what they want to hear. Exactly.
Yeah, so, like, if you
Yeah.
tell them what they want to hear, you're legit, you're on point, you're like, "Oh my god, she's amazing." But if you say, "Yeah, I'm not seeing that, unfortunately, that's not gonna happen," that's not what they wanna hear, they're gonna be like, "She's a fraud, she doesn't know what she's talking about, she's terrible," and it's just like, yeah, you're just hoping to be told. But then
Yeah.
unfortunately, as someone else said who does readings, you gotta be careful with it because a lot of
Yeah.
people also, if you say, "I see this in your cards," they can easily change their outcome. Like, if and they say the best example is, "Oh yeah, I do see you getting that promotion." All of a sudden now they're kicking back and slacking off and thinking, "I got this in a bag," and they're not working hard or putting the extra
Yeah.
effort into what originally the reason why they're going to get the promotion. They're just thinking it's going to be handed to them now. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, my future says it's going to be there.
Yeah.
So I guess they don't. I guess I can relax." So then
Yeah.
then they don't get it anymore because they're no longer doing what they need to. They
Yeah.
took themselves off that path to get that promotion.
And I think a lot of people don't like what I like. I can pick up if you're sick or not. I can pick up where you have problems in your body or not, and they run away from me because they don't like seeing that. They don't like hearing that because they'll just they'll run this way, and I said, okay, what happened? What's the matter? They said, why
Exactly.
don't I? They're just freaking out. And then I said, oh, you mean I'm sick? I said, no, it means just be careful, right?
Pay attention.
Yeah, and be aware of yourself and be aware of your body, and not knowing that you're not Superman, and knowing that you're fallible, and not knowing that things can happen, right? It's just normal that way, and I don't know. I j-
Nice cat. I like that, Irene.
I think in the end I always end up going like this afterwards because
Black cat jumped right across. It was like, whoa, look at that kitty.
yeah. Oh, he's holy terror. No, he hasn't been fixed yet. He hasn't been fixed yet, so he's just making a mess. um, it's just funny, how people react to other people, and I think we as what we do in our field is yeah, I think it's really difficult. Like, I don't use equipment because I'm not an equipment person, right? I see things and I hear things and I feel things that I feel that um you want a person who does equipment, who wants to be on who thinks you're paranormal and uses equipment, that's fine too, because I don't think I need it. And then I'm just really different that way, and I don't like blinking lights, and I don't like those thingamajiggers that makes off a lot of sound. Like, I'm just down to earth, me only, and you know, a lot of times the people don't like it because I'm just me, and that's the way it is. That's the way it is, and that's the way I see it, and that's the way I put out there. And yeah, you can take it or leave it. I don't care. It's just totally different the way that I do things, and I rely on here, I rely on here, and I rely on here, and that's all I need. And I think people have a hard time understanding that, seeing that. It's just
Well, the problem is people now rather have the sugar-coated lie than the
yeah,
harsh reality.
yeah, and knowing that yeah, you're not gonna see anything. Maybe it takes a little while to come out. Yeah, it's gonna take a little while to come out. Nothing's gonna pop out and say, "Hi, I'm the spirit from such and such a time." I said, "Oh God, okay, next." Like, oh my god, okay. Okay, what else is new? Okay, let's move on here. And oh, crazy. It's just crazy, crazy things. Um, um, what rooms are the most active in your home?
Um, I hate to say it, but there's not a single part of the house that hasn't had some type of activity happen. I've had the front door open on its own. We've had objects in the kitchen get knocked off the countertop. In the dining room, we've had voices recorded speaking out loud just randomly. The den's got the objects, the figurines keep on getting knocked over.
Mhm.
The bathroom on the top floors had the faucets turn on by themselves.
Mhm.
The trash can has somebody got locked in that bathroom and the trash can started to dance around on its own. The second floor, the guest bedroom doorknob started jingling and jangling when one of my friends was walking by it, and there was no one in the room. Master bedroom, we recorded voices, disembodied voices, just talking randomly. I
Mhm.
saw the apparition of Jay Sebring in there. The hallway itself has recorded activity as well. My office, we've recorded voices. The laundry room next to the office, we've recorded disembodied voices and had stuff happen there. The runway between the water heater on one side room and the exit to the side of the house, that runway has got lots of crazy energies where people have walked on it and felt like they're rocking back and forth on a boat, losing their equilibrium. Which brings us to the stairwell where people have described the sensation of falling forward, of actually falling forward, and then somebody pulling their backpack back and preventing them from losing their balance and falling forward and tumbling.
Mm.
Um,
Have you had um the history of the land? Everywhere.
yeah, there was nothing there. It was always empty, vacant land. Never anything here before this house.
Mm.
Just
So you don't know what happened on the land before you.
wouldn't have been anything. It was literally the side of the hills, just a slope, hillside
That
slope.
that's really weird because
I mean, there are
I
places in the world, obviously, where for some odd reason paranormal activity is just a magnet to or magnified. His house is one of them, or something around his house is at least one of them. Obviously, Mount Fuji, Irene, is probably one of them because
yeah
even skeptics have told me that Mount they stayed in a hotel across the street from Mount Fuji, and they've had experiences that turn them into a believer.
yeah
It's just also at the bottom of Mount Fuji is where the famous forest is. So
yeah.
obviously, there's something out there that attracts
To
sad
answer,
souls.
sure, to answer Andrew's question, there was a creek, I guess you call it, that ran down Benedict Canyon, but that's a good 3/10 of maybe 3/4 of a mile from where the house sits, as a crow flies. At least, got to be about 3/10 of a mile to where the river
Mm.
down
So
Benedict.
it is quite a far away from where you live,
That's not
right?
on top of it. Yeah, it's definitely we're up in the hills, and the river was down at the was literally traversed down Benedict Canyon, and there
Mm.
still is the wash that they have there, but it's covered up. It's got a concrete. Now it's all encased in concrete so that it runs under the
Mhm.
street.
But I still think because the
Now,
Earth around
power sources.
the
It's all DC energy. So
yeah the
no,
Earth around where you are and the Earth around where I am the most. We call this Earthquake Alley where I live in Tokyo, and we get the most activity of earthquakes, and we have the most haunted areas here. So I
What is
believe
it
that
called
has
there, Irene? The fire belt?
yeah. So we have the most hauntings, and we have the most crazy stuff happening here. So I
That
believe
usually
that
around
has a
Mount
lot to do.
Fuji is usually Mount Fuji is the epicenter of most earthquakes in
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah.
At least near
Yeah.
it, if not right at it.
Yeah. And Mount Fuji is also haunted. It's also a live volcano, right? So
Mhm.
stuff has happened, like death has happened. Scientists who climbed the mountain to measure the volcanic activity in the mountain has died to climbing the mountain or coming down the mountain. So yeah, the whole area is just charged. Like yeah, I think it would be charged in California too. I think there's a lot of
Well,
activity. I think there's a lot of things that are going underground and that creates that effect. So yeah, it's just it's part of the area and it's part of where I live too. And you know,
If you're into cryptids, they believe that Godzilla was real and he lived
yeah,
around Mount Fuji, where
yeah,
I guess it depends on what you believe. Some people believe that Godzilla went back into the waters near Mount Fuji.
yeah,
Others believe he went back into the volcano.
all right.
Why not?
yeah,
You see that what it says here, the executive producer of Amityville Horror, my movie? The
mm,
man who is that person, his name is Paul Mason.
mm-hmm.
Paul Mason is actually the man who wrote 1960 Godzilla versus King Kong.
Wow,
That's when you said that, it's like Godzilla. It's like God.
That's
Paul
why
Mason,
he's so big here, though, is they believed he actually existed around the Mount Fuji area.
what
yeah,
But it's
year?
up to debate on where he went.
Well,
yeah,
what year was that though that he existed?
yeah,
When they think that he existed, I'm curious.
yeah. Oh crap! There, okay.
You're there.
Aliens probably live around Mount Fuji just because that's also
Yeah,
where a lot of the
because
sightings are, especially after
yeah,
earthquakes.
when we get the most heaviest earthquakes, there's always an alien in the sky every time, and they're always around our. We have nuclear energy because the weather is so weird in this country, and can't use wind because the hurricanes that we have are still severe. So we have nuclear energy, and they're always hovering around the nuclear power plants. And apparently, there's been more alien activity in this country than ever now. And they're saying that. Remember, Amanda, you said that we're waiting for a bigger earthquake. So
Oh yeah, well they've been saying it's coming now. Especially I had one. I don't usually have them down here like Irene does, so it's very rare
yeah,
I have them. But a couple weeks ago, we had a 7.1 down here, and
yeah,
then scientists
7.1?
yeah,
7.1 down here. It was epicenter was literally down here where I live, down
yeah,
in the island where I live.
yeah,
Then they predicted another one is on its way. Sure enough, the
yeah,
next day,
yeah,
Irene had the earthquake, and
yeah,
now they're saying there's supposed to be a size 9 megaquake that's supposed to be coming. They thought it was going to be years from now, but they were like,
mm,
yeah, it might be happening this fall.
yeah,
Oh,
So they're telling everyone have your earthquake kits ready just in
yeah,
case.
yeah.
And it's usually in fall is not when we have earthquakes
Yeah.
here in Japan. So
We only have them in the springtime. Every spring it comes out in March, right? And we rarely have it. The other day we had one and it was at 4 a.m. and I said, like, hell if I'm gonna hold out the furniture, I'm gonna go back to bed. Good night. Like I just said, not doing this. And for us, like, yeah, okay, another one. So what? Okay, let's go back to sleep. Like we're awake. We look at and see how bad it is. Not too bad. Okay, no problem. Like we just really we've become numb to it. I think in Tokyo about it.
well, it's funny because I was telling Irene I was looking at Amazon Japan for something, and it showed me the top searches with the earthquake readiness happening. First one was rice, as she
Uh-huh.
was saying before. You can't get rice or water. I'm like, it's funny. The number one bought thing right now is rice. Number two of Amazon is water. And then
Mhm.
I told her for number 3, for some odd reason, it's Pokemon.
And toilet
That's,
paper. Toilet
you know,
paper.
it wasn't toilet paper, it's Pokemon. They told me search as
Yeah.
the top 3. It was rice, water, Pokemon. I'm like,
Pokemon.
get your priorities together.
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Oh my god.
I said too. Like,
God. We went to the grocery store and they had no more rice. We went to another store. They had no more. They had no more water. We went to another store. They had no more toilet paper. Like, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Okay. Got that.
well, the reason why it's always. Yeah, I was surprised too. I'm like, why is it Pokemon? Why is this our priority? Pokemon. So here in Japan, it's either called Pokemon or it's also, some people still refer to it as the Pocket Monsters.
Hmm.
Sometimes you'll see Pocket Monsters for sale. So it's Pokemon.
Yeah. But
It's funny.
it's just really weird living in this country.
Well, the reason why here in Japan toilet paper is bought up when the disaster is going to hit, this also happened at COVID, was Japan doesn't make paper. So
Mhm.
anytime something's going to happen, they fear that
Yeah.
they're not going to get the imports. So if
Yeah.
you're not importing, like we could go around any kind of food that we are growing or producing, but if we're not making toilet paper, we better
No.
stock up, because if we're not
Yeah.
getting the imports,
Yeah.
we got to use something for toilet paper.
Yeah.
So they'll stock by it here. This is also what happened at COVID, because they were
Yeah.
afraid
Yeah.
with the COVID, it was going to be. They're afraid that it was going to not be. They were not going to get the imports. So that also includes toilet paper. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, people in the United States heard people in Japan were stocking
Yeah.
up on toilet paper. That
Yeah.
created the fear in the United States, and that's why everyone
Yeah.
stocked up, and you couldn't find it
Yeah.
anywhere. They even admitted that United
Yeah.
States created its own fear
Yeah.
with toilet paper.
Yeah.
They're like, you guys created your own fear with that.
Yeah. We're just like we don't have any natural resources or anything like that, so everything has to be purchased. So we have to buy everything, including oil, gas, whatever, right? So it's like when you have to buy everything, like you're living in the island of Hawaii, they have to buy everything too. So we're like that here. So
Yeah.
it gets kind of pricey having to buy everything.
But I don't think they're gonna think we're gonna sink in. I just think
Yeah,
because a lot. I mean, I know a lot of buildings in Tokyo.
yeah,
They made earthquake proof, basically, to withstand high earthquakes. That's probably why it's. I don't know, right? I even Irene and I don't really understand the rice, because unfortunately, if you lose power, how are you going to make the rice?
yeah, yeah. That's what I said. How you gonna make the rice if you don't have
And I
power,
even
right?
said the same thing. And I'm like, if I don't have power, how am I turning on anything to make this rice?
Yeah. On this, they have these gas cassettes, and they have this little portable tabletop things. Yeah,
Little stove.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. But also,
Yeah.
mine, Irene has a different oven. Irene bought a bigger one. Hers is not a normal size Japanese one. I
Nope.
have one, and everyone who's heard me on the store talk about this thing, Japanese ovens are extremely small. That's basically an adult version of an easy bake oven.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it is. I can only fit a four muffin pan in there, and that's it. I can't fit anything else in there.
Yeah.
And it's actually very rare
Yeah.
that they even have ovens. Mostly they just have like 3 burner stoves, a fish
Yeah.
boiler,
Yeah.
and a rice cooker.
Yeah.
But mine, I found out that my oven also runs on a D battery. So I'm like, well, I guess in an emergency I won't have lights, but at least I can use the stove.
Yeah. But the difference between your house and my house is earthquake proof, okay? Sure I had a little bit of damage, but yeah, that was fixed really easily.
But of
But
course, there's going to be some damage. You can't prevent that. There's nothing.
no. No.
You can't earthquake proof something enough to not ever have
No.
any damage.
So we had minor damage, so we got that fixed. But I mean, yeah, I've had my house shakes like this way and that way and this way and in every way possible. And okay, another one. Okay, I'm used to it. Okay, we're done. like we're all nonchalant living in this city, right? We just whatever. Even during podcast, right, Amanda? And I said,
Oh yeah,
"Oh
we've
well."
had a couple. She's been in a couple of earthquakes on a podcast, and I was like, "Are you okay? Do we need to end this? Do you need to go?" Nah, I'm just gonna ride this through, and I'm like, "Okay." She's so used to it. She's like, "Nah, let's just keep going. I'm good. I'm just watching
Yeah,
everything shake.
and
I'm
I was
fine."
holding up the china cabinet. I was holding up the china cabinet with my hand. I said, "Okay, we're good." I'm just bouncing.
Irene is that meme of the dog in a room on fire sitting at the table. I'm good. I'm fine. Everything's good. So she's holding up her china cabinet as the earthquake is shaking everything. Yeah, I'm good. No, this is fine.
Just keep on going, okay? And it was going. Yeah, it's just, yeah. You know, this is normal nonchalant thing. The thing is, Tokyo's for her area has a lot of very sad spirits. My area is totally different than hers. Mine is more frightening, um, in your face, like hers. It's just totally different atmosphere. She's on a little island south of us, and I'm right in the big island, and it's just, yeah, it's crazy where we live and the different kind of atmosphere and different kind of spirits that are in your area compared to our area. It's just
Yeah, she does
crazy,
that
crazy, crazy.
too. Where if it's the middle of the night, she'll be like, "I'm trying to sleep." Go ahead.
Yeah, leave me alone. Like,
She'd yell at the earthquake to stop.
yeah,
Stop! I'm
I'm
trying to
yelling
sleep.
at, I'm yelling at it. Like, let me go to back to bed. Do you mind? Like,
I'm going back to bed regardless.
yeah, this is how we. This is how I act here. Anyways, that's totally. That's. It's just. Yeah. No one thinks that. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. We're just a little bit weird here. David, are you? Is you get earthquakes here, don't you? In California.
California.
Yeah, I haven't felt any since I've lived up here, but yes, we get them. They
Mm,
say.
So they say.
I
That's
haven't
You know,
felt any
David is so
earthquakes here.
scary. You know, David is so scary that the earthquakes are afraid of him.
No, I
yeah,
swear to God, the house and people go, "Did you feel this?" I said, "Feel what?" And I
yeah,
watch the cameras. It's like it's very, very slight the way the house is built. It's built into the bedrock, so unless it's a really violent, and not
yeah.
even really violent, it's got to be one of those. I don't even know how to describe an earthquake that really rocks the house because we have had so many, and I've literally said, "What earthquake? Huh?" And we
Yeah,
don't feel it up here.
David is the paranormal version of Chuck Norris, I guess.
yeah.
Where
Claim
David's
no
not,
such gosh darn honor. God, my God. I'm
David's not afraid of earthquakes.
it's
Earthquakes are
that
afraid of David.
I've gone through
Yeah.
earthquakes as a kid. This place doesn't, and in my old apartment, I felt the '94 earthquake. I felt in my apartment just up here. The way the house is built on the caissons into
Yeah.
the solid rock, we really don't really ever feel it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And I think the last one we had
I'm
was
still
maybe a year ago, and one of the figurines got knocked over. And I watched the video. It's like, oh, that's why the figurines got knocked over. It's an earthquake.
Oh, okay.
this is how I'm still going to advertise for him that he is the paranormal version of Chuck Norris, where he's not afraid of earthquakes; they're afraid of him.
I love it. Yeah, I'm Chuck Norris. The earthquake's afraid of me. That earthquake stare the hell clear of the Omen House.
I
You
love
got
that. I love that. I love that.
Chuck
That's cool.
Norris, Omen. Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's not, but she's exactly, Josh. There's nothing you can do. You just got to ride through it. There's not like you can stop it.
No,
Yeah.
you can't. You really can't. You really can't. You really
You
can't.
can't.
No.
You
I
can't prevent it. You can't stop it.
no.
Regardless how much Irene yells at it, it's still gonna.
Yeah, it's still gonna go through anyways, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Ride the wave.
Yeah. Oh, riding the way. Yeah, when it picks up your whole house and drops it on the floor, like bang, you go.
Hey, I went through Hurricane Anita in Kauai 30 years ago. I know about riding the wave. I saw it firsthand at Poipu Point.
Yeah.
In Japan, you usually get at least a 30 second warning before it hits.
Mhm.
Oh, hurricane? Oh yeah, you had plenty of warning with a hurricane.
No, I mean with earthquakes. Like, I remember the first time I heard it, it was like it's as loud as an Amber Alert, but obviously it sounds different. I had to look at my phone, and it said like the earthquake warning. And usually when you get that, you have at least 30 seconds to figure out where you want to be during this. And I was like, why 30 seconds? Why can't it be more? And I was like,
Yeah,
that's
that
as soon as they can predict it's gonna happen when it's hitting. I don't know. I'm not out there predicting earthquakes.
Gee whiz, yeah.
Like, well, what's
Yeah.
30 seconds gonna do for you? I'm like, 30 seconds is enough for you to be like, don't want to be here, it's somewhere else in this house or somewhere out.
I like
People bail.
that.
People bail in 30 seconds. People run outside in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have 30 seconds to figure out where you want to be. Okay?
Yeah.
Where do you want to die? Inside or outside?
Yeah, basically. It's like choose where you want to be. You have 30 seconds to figure it out. And then
God help us.
anyways, David, we had a lot of fun having you on
Yeah.
the show today.
That was
Yeah,
my
thank
pleasure.
you.
Again.
Yeah,
We're
come on
definitely
again.
we're gonna have to have
We're
you.
gonna have to do part 2.
Yeah, we're gonna do part 2 with you sometime. We'll have to have you back.
No,
Yeah.
please. I'd love to have. I'd love to be back. I'd love that.
Oh, thank you very much for coming on.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
please.
And take care of your animals.
Well, I'll take care of my kids. And for the
Okay.
audience out there, this is where you can follow me. You can take a look at the book. Goes to Cielo Drive. Goes to CieloDrive.com, YouTube.com/David Oman. And of
Yeah.
course, house at the end of the drive.com, where you can rent this great original feature film,
Yeah.
which we're trying to get it out there as well. So,
Yeah.
and we'll talk
Yeah.
later, obviously, Amanda and Irene, about doing something with that.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, we'll definitely have
Thank
to do
you.
that. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Everyone else out there, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.